Welcome to Mind Set in Stone podcasts, where we dive deep into the most compelling books on the shelf. Join hosts Dave and Poppy as they uncover the stories, themes, and ideas that shape our understanding and inspire curiosity. Get ready to explore the big ideas that leave a lasting impact. Let's get started.
Ever feel like your brain could really use like a refresh button? Yeah. You're not alone.
Nope.
Today, we're really diving deep into David Naylor's Rebooting Your Brain.
Yes.
And it's not your like typical self-help book. It's actually, it's a really fascinating kind of blend of neuroscience, personal stories, and actionable steps to kind of help you unlock a happier, more successful you.
And I think what makes it so compelling is that, David Naylor's not just like preaching from some ivory tower,
Right.
He actually lives through his own brain reboot, so to speak, after a really serious COVID scare.
Wow.
And that experience really, completely changed his outlook on life.
I think a lot of people can relate to like those moments, where something happens and you're kind of like, whoa, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But it sounds like Naylor kind of takes us a step further.
Absolutely.
So he actually uses this brain reboot as a springboard to debunk some common myths about success and happiness.
Yeah, he really tackles this illusion of overnight success head on.
Okay.
We see the end result, right? We see the entrepreneur, we see the award-winning artist, but we don't really see the years of hard work, the setbacks, the consistent effort that went into it.
Right.
And he uses the Wright brothers as a great example.
Okay.
They didn't just magically invent the airplane overnight. It took years of dedicated experimentation, countless failures.
It's like, what's that saying? Like, the overnight success stories usually take years to build.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because it's like we have that belief that success is just kind of like a roll of the dice. But it sounds like Naylor is saying it's more than that. So what does he propose is like the real driver then?
Well, he really dives into the power of mindset.
Okay.
And specifically, the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So those with the fixed mindset, they believe that their abilities are just kind of set in stone. They might say, oh, I'm just not a math person. Or
I'm not creative.
Yeah, I don't have the creativity for that.
Right, so they're already kind of limiting themselves before they even start because they don't think they have the innate ability.
Exactly. But on the flip side, you have those with the growth mindset. And they see challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth.
Okay.
They believe that their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work.
That's really empowering.
It is.
Instead of being afraid to start and being held back by self-doubt,
right.
You're like, okay, well, I can learn this. I can get better.
Exactly.
I like that.
And this isn't just some like feel-good concept. It's actually rooted in neuroscience.
Really?
He talks about neuroplasticity.
Okay. I've heard that word before, but...
Yeah, so it's basically your brain's incredible ability to change and adapt throughout our lives.
So you're saying our brains aren't fixed, they're constantly evolving.
Precisely. Yeah. And it really comes down to our experiences and the way we think. Think of your brain like a muscle.
Okay.
The more you exercise it with positive thoughts and new learning experiences, the stronger and more adaptable it becomes. That's neuroplasticity in action.
So it's kind of like, you work it out, it gets stronger, and makes you realize just how much power we really do have to shape our own minds and our own abilities. But what about when we hit those inevitable roadblocks? How can we reframe failure in a way that like pushes us forward instead of holding us back?
And that's where Naylor's personal experience becomes really valuable.
Okay.
He talks about this disastrous first sales call that he had early in his career, and he was totally unprepared, fumbled through his pitch.
Ooh.
Yeah, he said he just felt like a total failure.
Oh, they'd been there.
Yeah. I think most of us would just like want to crawl into a hole after that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But his manager actually had a really interesting approach. So instead of berating him, he asked him these three, like, simple but powerful questions.
Okay, I like where this is going.
What did you do right?
Okay.
What did you do wrong?
Oh, okay.
And what will you do differently next time?
See, I love that because it's not making you feel bad. It's like you messed up.
It's constructive.
But how can we learn from it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he really emphasizes that these questions, they aren't just for sales calls, they apply to any area of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Where we experience setbacks. So it's really about rewiring our brains to see failure, not as a dead end, but as that stepping stone to growth.
It kind of reminds me of, you know how he talks about focusing on the present moment?
Right.
He talks about how our brains tend to, dwell on past regrets.
Yes.
Or future worries, and then we miss out on what's right in front of us.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself in that cycle, like the what ifs and the shoulda, woulda, couldas?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to get stuck in that.
It's a human experience.
Yeah.
But he connects this tendency to what he calls our survivor brain.
Our survivor brain.
Yeah. So it's that primal part of our brain that's wired to keep us safe from threats.
Right, like fight or flight.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it served us well in prehistoric times, but now it often keeps us stuck in this loop of negativity and anxiety.
Yeah, so instead of enjoying, like, I don't know,
Right.
a beautiful sunset, our brain is like,
Is there a tiger about to get me?
yeah, what's going on?
Right, exactly.
That's a good way to miss out on life.
Exactly. And so he offers an antidote to this.
Okay.
Gratitude.
Okay.
So he suggests this really simple practice of reflecting on things that we're grateful for before we go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
And this can help rewire our brains to focus on the positive things in our life instead of defaulting to that negativity.
I like that.
Yeah. So imagine if you ended each day, not with anxiety, but with these reflections of gratitude. Like, how do you think that would affect your mindset?
I feel like that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
Because, instead of waking up in the morning and dreading the day, you're thinking about the things that you're grateful for and, like, looking forward to, the good things.
You're starting your day from a more positive place.
Yeah.
And he takes this idea of shifting our focus even further with this concept of givers and takers in society.
Givers and takers.
Yeah. So he suggests that there's this fundamental difference in mindset between those who are constantly striving to give and those who are primarily focused on what they can get.
So he's not just talking about, like,
No.
donating to charities and stuff like that.
Exactly. He's talking about the, like, everyday acts of kindness.
Okay.
The things that often go unnoticed.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like holding the door for someone or offering a genuine compliment or just lending a listening ear. Just those small acts. And he argues that these small acts of giving, they not only benefit others, but they create a more positive and fulfilling life for the giver.
So you're saying by focusing on giving back to other people, we end up, like, enriching our own lives?
Exactly. It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Okay.
So when we focus on what we can give rather than what we lack, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities and connections.
It's like focusing on the good and the things you can control, not the things that you can't.
Exactly.
It's funny because that reminds me of when he talks about luck.
Okay.
He's like, it's not just this random force that we don't have any control over.
He actually says we can create our own luck.
By doing what?
By adopting that giver's mindset.
Okay.
Because that giver's mindset, it fosters this openness to opportunities.
Okay.
When we're genuinely interested in helping others, we're more likely to notice their needs, which can lead to those unexpected connections and possibilities.
So it's not just waiting for good things to happen, it's putting yourself out there and doing things for others.
Exactly.
And that in turn will bring good things back to you.
It's like you're putting that positive energy out into the universe.
Right, exactly.
It's coming back to you.
Yeah.
But creating your own luck, it's not just about generosity. It's about taking responsibility for our own lives.
Okay.
He calls this ultimate responsibility.
Ultimate responsibility. Okay.
So it's recognizing that we have the power to choose our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our destinies.
So we're not just along for the ride.
Right. He's saying we're not passive bystanders in our own lives.
Okay, I like that.
We have the power to choose how we react to challenges, how we interpret setbacks, and ultimately how we shape our realities.
It's like that old saying, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
Like, you could have all these amazing opportunities presented to you.
Right.
But if you haven't put in the work, you're not going to be able to do anything with it.
Exactly. And he even uses the example of Noah Glass, one of the founders of Twitter.
Okay.
You would think that being a part of something like that would just be like instant success.
Right, like you made it.
But Naylor points out that Glass was actually pushed out of the company before it really took off.
Oh, wow. Really? I had no idea. I would thought being there from almost the beginning,
Right.
that's it,
Right. But he hadn't developed the necessary skills
Okay.
to really navigate the complexities
Yeah.
of a rapidly growing company.
So he was in the right place at the right time.
Yes,
But he wasn't ready for it.
exactly.
It's a good reminder that, even when luck does come knocking,
Right.
you got to be prepared to answer the door.
You can't just rely on those external factors.
Yeah.
You have to take ownership of your own growth and development.
You have to be ready.
And Naylor says this sense of ownership, that ultimate responsibility, it's crucial for how we view challenges.
Okay.
So instead of seeing a challenge as proof that we're unlucky
Right.
or not good enough,
Yeah.
we can choose to see them as opportunities for growth and learning.
I like that.
And he even provides a set of questions.
Okay. What are they?
So these are questions to ask yourself whenever you encounter a challenge. Okay, so the first question is, what are the underlying issues that make this a problem?
Okay.
What can I do about the problem?
Okay. So you're taking ownership. I like that.
Exactly. And the last one, what can I learn from this to improve next time?
I love those. Like instead of just complaining about a problem, you're like actually trying to fix it.
Right. And he really stresses that taking that proactive approach instead of falling into that victim mentality, it's so essential
Yeah, I totally agree.
for success and happiness.
Yeah.
And he goes on to encourage us to be mindful of the company we keep.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, we've all heard that saying, like, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
So, if we're constantly surrounding ourselves with negativity
Yeah.
and limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
it's going to be so much harder to cultivate that growth mindset and embrace that ultimate responsibility.
It's like you need to have people around you that are going to lift you up and support you.
Exactly. And to kind of piggyback off of that, he recommends seeking out mentors and role models,
Okay.
people who embody the values and the mindset that we want to have.
Right, because if they've done it,
Yes.
then it shows that you can too.
Exactly. And it can make a world of difference in our growth journeys to have those positive influences.
Yeah, you need that support system for sure.
Absolutely.
And speaking of support systems, he also challenges that common belief that happiness is something that we achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Like once we reach a certain point or we have enough money or you know what I mean?
You're right. Like it's this destination.
Yeah, like once I get that promotion or once, I buy that house, then I'll be happy.
Exactly. But Naylor, he argues that true happiness, it's not a destination. It's a mindset.
It's how you look at things.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a way of viewing ourselves and the world. And he shares this really interesting insight from his mentor,
Okay.
Mukaddat.
Okay.
He was the former chief business officer of Google X.
Wow. Okay.
And he actually embarked on this whole quest to understand happiness
Okay.
after experiencing a really profound personal tragedy.
I can't even imagine going through something like that and then thinking about happiness, how.
Right. And what he discovered was
Mhm.
happiness arises from 2 things.
Okay, what are they?
1, when the realities of our lives exceed our expectations. And 2, when we appreciate what we already have.
So not looking at what you don't have, but what you already do have.
Yes.
And being grateful for that.
Being present.
Yeah.
And Naylor ties this back to this concept of unbecoming before we can become.
Unbecoming before we can become.
Yeah, because he says we often cling to these limiting beliefs and these outdated identities
Okay.
that prevent us from truly experiencing happiness.
Okay.
So it's about shedding those old layers,
Yeah.
the ones that are holding us back and keeping us stuck.
Yeah, getting rid of all the stuff that's not serving you anymore.
Exactly. It allows us to see ourselves and the world with fresh eyes.
Like hitting the reset button.
Yes, exactly. And he even talks about how our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our experiences and our thoughts.
Right, that neuroplasticity we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
So even though our brains might be naturally inclined to be negative,
Right.
we can train it to be more positive.
Exactly. And it's not just about the theory of it all. Naylor actually provides practical steps.
Okay, like what?
So he suggests setting micro goals.
Micro goals. Okay.
So it's breaking down larger goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
I like that because it's less overwhelming that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you build momentum. He also talks about the importance of having an accountability partner or
Yeah.
joining a mastermind group.
Right, so you have that support.
Exactly. That support system is so important.
It really is.
And I think, one of the biggest takeaways from all of this is that success It's not just about those external things. It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Right. So not just focusing on, like, money or your job.
Yes.
But who you are as a person.
Yeah, exactly. And he uses this analogy of a basketball player.
Okay.
It's not enough to just be good at shooting hoops.
Right.
You have to have the complete game.
So it's not enough to just be good at one thing.
Right.
You have to work on all of it.
Exactly. And that means working on our weaknesses, not just coasting on our strength. And ultimately, Naylor argues that this pursuit of personal growth and mastery, that's what's essential for living a fulfilling life.
And it sounds like a happy life, too.
Exactly. And he reminds us that true happiness, it's not about this perfect state of being.
Right.
It's about finding those moments of joy in our everyday lives.
It's about appreciating what we have.
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like Naylor's brain reboot is really a call to action.
It is.
For all of us to take a look at our thoughts, how we react to things, and really try to live more intentionally.
I love that.
It's really a good reminder that we have the power to create a life that we love, that's filled with purpose and joy and fulfillment.
And his book really gives us the tools and the inspiration to do just that.
Absolutely. It's a great guide, so if you haven't already, definitely check it out. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into rebooting your brain. So next time you feel like your brain could use a refresh, just remember to choose your thoughts, embrace the growth, and focus on what truly matters. Until next time.
We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a spark of inspiration. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and check back for more episodes as we dive into new worlds of thought, one book at a time. Until then, keep your mind set in stone and your curiosity open. This has been a Big L Riz Media podcast, where big ideas meet lasting impressions.